Good evening. You're watching Brass-tacks with me, Poonam Burde. Less than a week to go before the first vote is cast in Bihar, and both alliances have framed their campaigns around aspirations of 7 crore Bihari voters. Days after the Mahagathbandhan announced poll SOPs or its manifesto for these elections, today it was the NDA's turn. They released their manifesto or their Sankalp Patra. The popular MY combination, as we've heard both in Bihar and in Uttar Pradesh, seems to now have a new meaning: Mahila and youth. Both camps have concentrated their promises on these very sections. It's a war of Tejashwi's Pran Patra versus NDA's Sankalp Patra. Both alliances have made a list of 25 promises, or at least those are the highlights, some of which talk about jobs. The Mahagathbandhan has promised jobs to a member of every family in Bihar, a government job within 20 days of forming government. The NDA, meanwhile, has promised 1 crore jobs and employment opportunities along with a skill-based census every year. The opposition's Pran Patra also mentions 30,000 monthly salary for Jeevika Didis, the women associated with a World Bank-aided rural project. On the other hand, the NDA has promised financial assistance of up to 2 lakh rupees to women under its Lakpati Didi scheme. The Mahagathbandhan has committed to making all contractual and outsourced workers permanent, as opposed to the NDA, which has assured a life insurance of up to 4 lakh rupees to auto drivers, taxi and e-rickshaw drivers. One of the salient points listed in the opposition's manifesto is reverting to the old pension scheme for government employees, a demand that was coming in from different parts of the country, a promise that was made by several other Congress governments as well. The NDA Sankalp Patra, on the other hand, has a vast list of educational schemes, including 5,000 crore investment to revamp district-level schools with an aim to establish Education City. Alongside that, 2,000 rupee monthly assistance to students of scheduled caste section, 10 lakh rupees for those from the EBC section. The Mahagathbandhan has promised about 2,500 monthly assistance to poor women, while NDA has promised the establishment of Bihar as South Asia's textile and skill hub. So whose promises are really going to resonate?
अति पिछड़ा वर्ग को आर्थिक और सामाजिक बल देना, अति पिछड़ा वर्ग के विभिन्न समूह को 10 लाख रुपए की सहायता देंगे, एवं जो सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है कि हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट के रिटायर्ड जज की अध्यक्षता में एक उच्च स्तरीय समिति का गठन करेंगे, जो अति पिछड़ा वर्ग की विभिन्न जातियों के सामाजिक आर्थिक स्थिति का आकलन करके इन जातियों को सशक्तिकरण के लिए न्यायोचित कदम उठाने का सरकार को सुझाव देगी।
एनडीए के लोगों को सॉरी पत्र लाना चाहिए और बिहार के 14 करोड़ जनता से सॉरी बोलना चाहिए था कि 20 साल से भी राज करने के बाद भी सबसे गरीब राज्य बिहार.
Now, big-ticket promises have been made by both sides, but they come with big costs. Bihar, which is a developing state, was once called Bimaru by many, may not be able to handle that cost if they were to actually fructify. NDA's Sankalp Patra and the promises in it could add an estimated 36,892 crore rupees to the state's fiscal burden. While the NDA's package focuses on farmers and rural households, the Mahagathbandhan has trained its sights on women voters through a large-scale cash transfer program. Bihar will need to mobilize close to 60,000 crore rupees in additional resources to fund the slew of schemes that have been promised by the Mahagathbandhan in their manifesto. Where is this money coming from? Here's why those figures are concerning. Bihar's fiscal deficit for the financial year of 2026 is pegged at 32,718 crore. That's 3% of the gross state domestic product, less than the cost of the new commitments that have been made. To put the magnitude or the gravity of the situation in perspective, the state's capital outlay is at about 40,532 crore. That is only marginally higher than the cost that's expected to be of the welfare measures that the NDA has announced. It's far lower than the Mahagathbandhan's expected cost, which is at 60,000 crores. So where is the fiscal room? Is there any elbow room at all? Well, analysts believe that this leaves limited fiscal space for fresh investment or for social sector expansion, and yet both sides have made the promises that they have.
देखिए, महागठबंधन का काम सिर्फ और सिर्फ हम लोगों की नीतियों, हम लोगों को घेरने का, व्यक्तिगत प्रहार करने का सिर्फ इसी उद्देश्य से रह गया. एक बार पूछ के बता दीजिए तेजस्वी जी से, जब वो कहते हैं कि हर परिवार को सरकारी नौकरी देंगे, प्रभु कैलकुलेट तो कीजिए, कैसे दीजिएगा?
कहाँ से देंगे? कहाँ से देंगे? पैसा कहाँ से लाएंगे? किसके बाप के घर से लाएंगे? कुछ आता है जी? तो बताए हैं कि 1 करोड़ कहाँ से देंगे। हम लोग जब किए थे 10 लाख सरकारी नौकरी देंगे, तो हम लोगों ने तो दे के दिखा दिया।
Let's open this up. Kuntal Krishna, spokesperson of Bihar BJP, Anshula Vijit, spokesperson of the Congress, and Shekhar Iyer, senior journalists, are now with us. Kuntal Krishna, let me begin by asking you. The Mahagathbandhan says that they have first movers advantage because you pretty much have taken a leaf out of what they have promised in their manifesto. Free electricity, they said up to 200 units, you said 250. They came up with a scheme for Jivika Didis, you came up with something for Lakpati Didis. It's merely a copy-paste job, but they came out with it first, so they may have advantages, what they believe.
Poonam, what we promised today is in continuation of, it is in continuation with what we have done for last 2 decades. When we talk about building bigger infrastructure, we have proved in last 20 years that we are in a position to build a world-class infrastructure in Bihar. When we talk about making Lakpati Didis, we have proved a model of Jivika where 1.40 crore our sisters Jivika Didis are with us, and they have produced a domestic market of 50,000 plus crore rupees. We have proved it all. When we say that we will give 1 crore job and Swarojgar, we have got a plan and a vision to back it. It is not like Mahagathbandhan's Pran is something, Tejashwi's Pran, which is a bundle of lies. No practicality or at all. Probably it is based on the whim and fancy of Tejashwi Yadav. That's why they are calling it Tejashwi's Pran. Congress, I don't know whether Congress was consulted or even Congress was not consulted, because I could not see even a single senior Congress leader present on the day when this Tejashwi Pran was being released. When we were
Rahul Gandhi was conspicuous with his absence, but there were Congress leaders present during their manifesto release.
You tell me, any senior Congress leader was present. Rahul Gandhi was there the day after, but he was not present at that point. When we were releasing our Sankalp Patra, our national president was there. CM of Bihar was there. Because what we promised, we delivered. And we have delivered it. What we promised in past, we delivered it. When we say that we will be able to create jobs, we have got a strong plan to back it. We are going to make Bihar a global hub for skilled labor, for skills. When we say that, okay, we are going to give 9,000 rupees to all people who want to have cattle, who want to go with fisheries, then at the similar time, we are also planning to have chilling plants at every district. So these are our plans and visions to make Bihar that much able physically that what we promise we are able to deliver.
Anshula Vijit, this is just an extension of what NDA has done, and they have a track record to show, which is why they feel confident that their promises will resonate.
No, that's exactly my point. Where is the track record? On all socio-economic indicators, you go through any of them by economists or which have been coming out, Bihar performs the lowest in all of them. In per capita income, in the levels of gross levels of poverty that we see, Bihar has the largest number of poor people in the country in terms of state, in terms of percentage. In terms of MSP that has not been given to farmers, there's a huge amount of agricultural distress because farmers are forced to give to traders who sell the grain to other states where the MSP rates are much higher. They don't give them. The law and order has completely collapsed, and that's another reason you're not getting any industry. There has been absolutely no industrial expansion. In fact, the Prime Minister had promised 75,000 crore rupees, barely 5,000 crores have come in for industrial expansion in the state. That's next to nothing. Every single indicator suggests, every data point suggests that Bihar is the lowest. That's no secret. The NDA manifesto, as we've been saying, is an apologetic one. It's apologizing for things they have not done. After all, they are the government in power. They are the incumbent. They have a lot more to answer for. Yes, let me just focus now on what we are now promising. Our promises have proven to be true in Karnataka and in Telangana, where we made a number of promises for employment, for women, for youth. They've all come to fruition, right, in both the states. Here we're going to do the same thing. And why is the Mahagathbandhan poll promises so radical? You would think, and these are legitimate questions to ask, Poonam. Where is the money going to come from? They are so radical, government job for each family. The context is that the Bihar has been pushed to such an edge, it's been brought to such a brink, but that there was no choice except to hope for a shock treatment of Bihar, a quick economic revival. The question
But
is where the money
at whose cost is that shock treatment coming to the fore, Shekhar Iyer? That's also something that's important to note, isn't it? I mean, both parties have made the kind of promises that they have, but where is the money coming from?
Exactly, Poonam. That is what is worrying all of us, not these political parties. Both sides seem to be promising, the moon and whatnot. But question is, between the two manifestos, what is more doable? That is what. And an average BR voter is a very sharp person. He knows what will actually come on hand and what will not. But one distinct thing I can see is that NDA promises more of creating a ecosystem that will allow for development growth. On the other hand, Tejashwi Yadav's approach is more like handing money on hand, which is like, for instance, take the biggest promise of providing government job, mind you, government job to every person of every family. I mean, rather to every family. Now, this is going to be very big, tall order. Even if you were to start with, say, it takes 2 years to start providing jobs. It's a tall order. And we must not forget what has happened after, this kind of promises were made in, say, Himachal Pradesh, in Karnataka, or even in Telangana. See, these promises, or even Maharashtra for that matter. See, the promises that were made and subsequently what has happened. Now, there was a time when Prime Minister was opposed to freebies. There was a debate about freebies. Even the matter went up to the Supreme Court. Subsequently, with Congress showing that freebies work in winning elections, BJP has not been far behind. But the result is, this is going to create a situation where a lot of promises are very difficult to implement. You ask Siddaramaiah today, the promises that were made by Priyanka Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, which I believe was not done with much consultation with Siddaramaiah because they were made in the course of rallies. Today, the Karnataka government is struggling. MLAs are unhappy, ministers are unhappy because no other fund is left for constituency development. I mean, I'm not getting into this party or that party. When you are making these promises, see what is happening in the state. At least Karnataka has a better revenue model. I mean, in terms of state exchequer earning is much more, whereas BR would entirely depend on what the center can provide. So if NDA is making those, and NDA kind of promises, you watch everything, is more about creating a system which will encourage more entrepreneurial development, which will encourage more.
But Shekhar Iyer, even with the NDA promises, the cost is not significantly lower. I mean, if Mahagathbandhan's promises would be putting about 60,000 crore rupee burden on the state budget, it's about 36,000 odd for the NDA. I mean, where is this 36,000 crore going to come from either?
No, that is why I wish the parties were more honest. I mean, they could make some promises which are actually doable. I'm not saying they should not dream big. They should dream big. But at the same time, what is the track record of delivery? See, at least under Nitish Kumar, things have changed, though they have not changed to the extent that they should have changed compared to the previous regime. Now, this current Mahagathbandhan largely also carries the baggage of the rule that was provided under Lalu Rabdi Raj, because that is also a talking point in these elections. Therefore, these promises, I do not know whether the average BRE voter will get easily impressed. He would rather look at, and public memory when it comes to getting things on hand is not so short. I mean, they can remember what was delivered, what was not delivered by this government or the previous government.
And eventually, it might be about what is in hand. I mean, the kind of cash transfers that have already been given by the Nitish government, maybe that's what would be remembered by certain section of voters. That is exactly what happened in Maharashtra as well. They did have the advantage that they had an incumbent government that had already started giving women the kind of money that was being promised by the other side. So, I mean, a bird in hand was obviously worth more than in the bush, and that's exactly what transpired there. But will that happen, Kuntal Krishna, in Bihar as well? I mean, it's not a solid comparison to make. Maharashtra was very different. So is Bihar.
See, Poonam, what we today, revealed, it is a public vision and it is our public roadmap. We are not making any promise. We are revealing our vision and roadmap for Bihar based on our track record. What Mr. Iyer was saying, that there has to be a track record to back any vision. We have got a track record. it is a fact, then in 11 years, more than 15 lakh crore rupees were spent in Bihar to build infrastructure. It is a fact. And it is also a fact that between 2004 and 2014, only 2.5 lakh crores were given to Bihar to build anything. It is a fact. And fact remains a fact. When we say that we will make 1 crore Lakhpati Didis, we have got a solid plan to back it. We have got an infrastructure, we have got an ecosystem which is called Jivika. We are giving
But Kuntal Krishna,
10,000
Krishna, the fact also is that there are promises of freebies that are being made from the NDA side, which the BJP had vehemently opposed and slammed the opposition for doing. When you say you're offering free electricity units, that's exactly what in Delhi the BJP slammed the Aam Aadmi Party for.
Poonam, just for 3 years. After that, we want to connect every household with that solar plan. We want to connect every household with PM solar plan so that electricity would be totally free. Just for 3 years, we are giving a subsidy on 125 units only. So this is something which is called vision. We have got a vision. When we say that we will have private investment, we have a track record. General Electrical, one company, one conglomerate has invested 40,000 crores in Bihar. One conglomerate. Pepsi is investing, Coke is investing, Prestige is investing, Adani is investing. We are making Bihar a ecosystem where any investor would come and invest.
Sure.
When we say that we are planning to make Bihar global back-end hub.
Sure. So Anshul Avijit, the comparison would be that if you're talking about how the NDA, if they return to power, plans to fund the kind of promises they do, then they have a track record of showing the kind of investments that have come into the state, as opposed to Karnataka, where you're seeing many such investments go out of the state.
No, I mean, my question to my good friend Kuntal would be, what were you doing up till now? All the operative word that we've all used, and you've used it yourself, Poonam, they plan to do it. It's all futuristic. It's prospective.
Poonam,
it's in the future.
I would need
I
1
want
minute
to
to
answer what on earth were you doing for the last 20 years? Look, we didn't have to give these kind of promises if the fiscal health and if the economic health of Bihar was in great shape, if Bihar was a powerhouse. Why would we need to make these kind of promises? And of course, we'll fulfill them. But why was that necessary? Because Bihar has been pushed to the very edge of its existence. I repeat, all economic indicators, socio-economic indicators are the worst that you can find in India. That is absolutely no secret, Poonam. I think the more legitimate question, and it's a fair question, is where is the funding going to come from? Look, the similar question is, you've just given 10,000 rupees to women out there. It costs about a crore women have been given according to the Prime Minister's latest speech. Where has that money come from? It's cost 1 lakh crores to give that money. The outlay, the Bihar budget, last time, this was not a budgetary allocation. Bihar's budget was 3.25 lakh crores. Where has that money come from? It's obviously a central funded scheme. Bihar doesn't have that money. So you're using money, you're using borrowings, and you're using money from where you can get it on the eve of the election.
But Anshul Avijit, that's the same case for Telangana as well. I mean, Telangana's debt has also gone up significantly over the last few years. And what has added to that debt is the kind of promises that were made by the Congress party pre-elections, and some of which have been delivered, some of which are being delayed. And that's a fact as well. But Kuntal Krishna, you had a rebuttal before I get in Mr. Iyer as well.
If Bihar is pushed to the very edge, who pushed Bihar to the very edge, Abhijit ji? It was you and RJD. It is a fact that during those 15 years, in the GDP, industrial contribution was minus, Abhijit ji. I know you are a good economist. You know it now. During those 15 years, industrial contribution to GDP was in minus for few fiscal years. This was the Bihar which we got. Another fact is, we already invested 15 lakh crore to build infrastructure in these 20 years. Now there is road.
A lot of which that infrastructure is crumbling, Kuntal Krishna, and we've seen pictures and videos of that. And unfortunate as it is, that's what the taxpayer gets. But Shekhar Iyer, as far as Bihar is concerned, and as far as this fight over these two alliances is concerned, who do you think has the upper hand, especially as far as the women and the youth are concerned? Because that seems to be the thrust for both of them. And Tejashwi Yadav and the Mahagathbandhan is trying to walk away from this Jungle Raj tag that the NDA is trying to push on them by harping on jobs, on employment, on focus on the youth particularly.
Well, Poonam, this election is going to decide that. Because, do people still trust Nitish Kumar to deliver? Or are they looking at Tejashwi Yadav as the next generation choice? Because Tejashwi Yadav has equally created buzz. I mean, one cannot deny the fact that his meetings have drawn good crowds. There has been a lot of response. And at the same time, they do see Nitish Kumar, because that is the importance of Nitish Kumar in this election. But Nitish Kumar and Bihar and future of Nitish Kumar and Bihar. Because that is why in the opposition campaign also they keep on saying that Nitish Kumar won't come back as CM. Nitish Kumar may not last, BJP may eventually replace him. If this is the running theme of the opposition, that is largely because they realize Nitish Kumar remains the biggest asset of NDA and he is the one who is pulling along. Of course, for implementation of all these promises, it would require a double-engine sarkar. It has to be an NDA government here and NDA government at the center. Otherwise, some of these promises may not see the light of the day at all. Of course, in which case people will lose complete trust in these promises. But fortunately for Nitish Kumar and for NDA, his initial years, the manner in which he took care of women, special schemes for women, those are left behind a memory which is still in favor of NDA and Nitish Kumar.
And like in most states, women are going to be a crucial factor. In fact, the share of women voters is also increased this time around. So that's going to be extremely crucial. Which side or which alliance the voters of Bihar choose, we'll find out sooner than later. It's less than a week before that first vote is cast. But I have to leave it there. The voters of Bihar will decide whose promises really resonated with them. I thank you all, gentlemen, for joining us here on brass-tacks.